So one of the very first series that International Media Ministries did in a big project was Boulevard des Enfants for the French-speaking world. Similar to many children's projects in the early 90s, late 80s, puppets and people mixed together. And it's gone all over the French world, still continues to be requested in Africa, in different parts of the world, in French. 30 years later, which I'm sure nobody saw coming, but there was a man there at the time, Philippe Ramesson, who just had a passion as a French person to make really quality programs for children. And then a few years later, they were able to put it into Russian and literally drove to Russia. So the Iron Curtain hadn't been down very long, and taught children's ministry to a group of pastors who wanted to learn that. And then one lady went all down the train line through Trans-Siberia and taught and gave lessons and lesson plans and videos in Russian, all down there. So it's been a really fruitful part of IMM's history.
Yeah, sounds like it. But what prompted the series in the first place?
The lack of children's programming in French. So Philippe saw that in his own culture and said, man, let's make this happen. To think now that it has continued to live for 30 years, it's part of IMM's sort of DNA that we create something as good a quality as we possibly can in the first place, as sound biblically as we can, not go into any extremes, and it has a really long life. And so we're grateful to, imagine the donors who gave in 1990, 91, 92 while they were making that, and those dollars and how they've been multiplied around the world.
I think the donors that gave back in the 90s and the late 80s, they should know that, because that's really important, the longevity of a show and how many languages has that one particularly been translated into?
I know it's in French, I know it's in Russian. It's the amount of countries, because French is spoken really in a huge amount of places around the world. There's one outlet online that's got a 10 million viewer audience. So there's another program, World of Jonathan Singh, that has gone into Arabic, it's gone into Bangladesh and Bengali, and that had a 55 million audience. So there again, dollars that have continued to multiply as they've gone to more countries. And it's exciting to know we can do something like that, and it lives on past our own time at IMM, past generations of kids even have seen some of these.
Yeah, and that will keep living on from generation to generation. As long as we still have televisions, as long as we still have social media, and a very worthwhile cause to give to, no doubt about it. And right up my alley, so I love it. I love that IMM is doing that.
And children, when you reach children, you're reaching the next generation. So it's a super important part of IMM. We having our capacity, what can we do at any given time, but it's always on the radar, because every single outlet we talk to says, have you got anything new for children?
Yeah, very, very important. And not only important, but useful for a very long time, very useful. And so I'm very happy to be part of IMM right now and working with you on these children's programs. And just the history alone of what you guys have done for children and their families is so intense, so important. So thanks.
Thank you.
My pleasure.